Pay attention, friends. The Dior Backstage Rosy Glow blushes have been reformulated. And you know what? We got some new shades as well. Are they still good? Did Dior ruin these? Let's find out. What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. I'm back. I'm back with another Dior reformulation video. I just did reviews of the newly reformulated eyeshadows and also the blushes from the main line, so I can link those down below. But today, we are focusing on a very highly anticipated release, which is the release of the newly reformulated Dior Backstage Rosy Glow blushes. Not only is this a new formula, but we also have new shades. I was very excited to try these out. So in this video, not only am I going to be swatching and demoing in natural light all of the shades, but I'm also going to be doing a comparison with the old formula versus the new formula to give you guys all of my thoughts. Why did they reformulate these? Are they still good? If you want to hear all of my thoughts, then keep watching. All right, party people, you know what to do. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I'll mention right now in the description box, I will be linking some shopping guides of where you can get both the old formula and the new formula. I've gotten a lot of questions about where you can buy these, both formulas. So all of that is going to be linked down below. And if you are new here, welcome, welcome. My name is Sophia and I am obsessed with luxury beauty and I upload videos every single week. So if you love Dior, Chanel, Tom Ford, lots of Sephora brands, then you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button to join our fam because we would love to have you. And without further ado, let's chat about these new blushes. What's going on with these? If you are new to this Dior discussion, Dior is actually reformulating a lot of its products. They recently reformulated the Dior Face and Body Backstage Foundation. They reformulated all their eyeshadows, all the blushes from the main line. They are reformulating everything. And for those of you who don't know, the reason behind this is because Dior wants to be a clean beauty brand. I know there's not like an exact definition for that, but that is what Dior is trying to do. They're trying to appeal to a wider array of consumers and they're trying to be that go-to luxury clean beauty brand because I'm sure they face a lot of competition from other brands over the years. So the reason that these are being reformulated is because Dior wants this to be a clean formula. The biggest thing being that they removed the talc. We'll talk about the ingredients in just a second. Furthermore, the new ones are the same exact price as the old ones. They are $40. However, you are getting a little bit less product. You are getting 4.4 grams as opposed to 4.6 grams. So they aren't as good of a value as the old ones. I will mention that. The new ones are still made in France. They are still a 12-month shelf life. So there are a lot of similarities with the new ones versus the old. On the Dior website, it says this powder blush reacts with the skin's pH and moisture level upon application, resulting in a long-lasting customized color. Skin remains fresh and radiant all day long. Its ultra-fine, lightweight texture glides on and melts into the skin, naturally blending for results that can be built up to your liking and a weightless second skin feeling. In terms of the finish for these, friends, I know it's a little bit hard to tell on camera, but I was able to get some shots in direct sunlight during golden hour. These are not completely matte. They actually do have not glitter, but kind of micro shimmers in them. They are called Rosy Glow blushes. So not only do they give you a glow from a color perspective, but they do have like a slight sheen to them. And when they go on the cheeks, I think you'll see during the demo, they do give like a nice little bit of glow, a little bit of like a blurring effect, so to speak. It's more of like an airbrushed effect. It's not like the RMS glowy blushes. It's a little bit more akin to maybe an hourglass blush, if that makes sense. I also want to show you, friends, that the packaging is relatively the same. The biggest difference here, aside from the fact that you get slightly less product in the new one, is that the old one has the more, I guess you could call it the more old school, the more classic Dior logo on it. And then the newer ones, just like the eyeshadows that were reformulated, has been updated to the, I guess you could call it more modern, more updated, all capitalized Dior logo. So that's the biggest way that you can tell just from looking at them which ones are the new ones versus the old ones. So if you're in store and you're trying to figure it out, that's a good way to tell. Another good way to tell is to just look at the ingredients, which we'll talk about right now. The new ones don't have talc. If you pick up one of these or if you're online shopping and it says that it has talc, it is the old formula. So that's another little tip for you. Taking a look at the ingredients, obviously I mentioned these don't have any talc, but they also don't have any cornstarch or kaolin clay like we saw in the eyeshadows and the other blushes from the main line. If you guys watched my other reviews, which I'm kind of happy about because I wasn't really loving those ingredients, and I know cornstarch as well It's a common alternative to talc, but apparently it breaks some people out, and I don't really enjoy the kind of like chalky, dry texture of those. We're gonna talk about the formulation more in my final thoughts, but I just wanna mention this, friends. These do have different preservatives, although the shelf life is the same. And then another big difference here that I wanna mention is that when I was taking a look at the ingredients for the new blushes, I don't see any fragrance in there. The old one that I have, it has a little bit of fragrance that I can detect. I never thought that the fragrance was super strong for these blushes, but when I look at the ingredients, it does say that there is fragrance. So it seems like they removed the fragrance from these, which I know is important to some of you out there. All right, friends, now let's get into what most of you are waiting for. We are going to be doing swatches and a daylight application of every single shade. Not all of the colors are created equal. I had a different experience depending on the shade, so I'm going to give you some of the details of that. I also want to mention that I did use two different types of brushes for this application. One that is much lighter and wispier, and another one that is synthetic and has denser bristles, so I can try and build up the color so you guys can kind of see if you were to put on a couple layers or if you were to change up the brush, how does that maybe change the look of the blush? So let's get into that. And the first color that I'm applying here is number 001 Pink. This is the famous one that started it all. These blushes have actually been around for a while, the original ones, but they only started becoming popular within the past year. And I really think it is because of this beautiful, cool tone, bubblegum Barbie pink. I would say that the new one here, we are going to do some comparisons in my final thoughts with the old formula, but this newer one, it's a little bit lighter in application. It's definitely not as pigmented. I do feel like if I want to build this up, I have to do a couple of layers on my cheeks. That being said, I do still really like the tone. I still kind of get that same similar feel that I get from the older blush, but I got some feedback from you guys on Instagram that those of you with darker skin tones, you were a little bit concerned because you felt like this one might be a little bit too light for your skin tone. Next one that I have here is number 004 Coral. This one was also in the original line. This one is a great little pop of color for summer. I feel like I can be a little more liberal with the pink color and the coral color. These are the lightest ones that are in the line, so they're a little bit more fair skin friendly than some of the other ones that we're going to be doing in just a second. I feel like if I go in with the little wispy brush, I still get a nice airy application. It doesn't feel patchy to me. Part of it could be because it's a lighter color, so it's just easier to blend into my skin tone. But I felt like the coral was really beautiful, really great color for me to wear for the summertime. Next up, I have number 012 Rosewood. I really like the fact that Dior added a somewhat neutral shade to the line. This is going to be the most neutral and probably the most universal shade, maybe the most wearable one out of the ones we're going to be talking about today. This is definitely more medium in pigmentation compared to both the pink and also the coral. This is going to be the one that matches with every single eyeshadow look that you do. I like the fact that it's not completely rose. It has a little bit of that neutrality to it. It is called Rosewood. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned this in the beginning, but all of these match up with the beautiful lip oils that Dior has in their line as well. So you could get the Rosewood lip oil, do a little bit of a monochromatic moment. I think this one very, very flattering for my skin tone, and I think it's going to be flattering on many others as well. So the first three shades that I showed you were a little bit more light to medium in tone. This is where we start seeing more vibrancy, more pigmentation from these blushes. The next color that I want to show you is the berry shade. This is probably one of the ones that I was the most excited about. I love a good berry blush. I like to think of berry as a blush that it's colorful, it's not neutral, but it's good for all year round. I feel like berry works in the spring and summer, but it also looks really good in the fall and winter time as well, with maybe more aubergine colors, purples, golds, those types of shades. So this is berry. Next up, we have number 020 Mahogany. This is the color that, I'm not gonna lie, I was the most scared about this one. It doesn't swatch very well. I'm just gonna tell you that. I would warn against judging just makeup in general completely based off of the swatches. You do need to see how it applies to the face, how it kind of blends out and wears on the skin. This doesn't swatch very well. This didn't go on my skin very easily at all. And I think part of it is because I am so fair, but you need to be careful with Mahogany because it is quite pigmented. It looks like straight up cocoa powder on my face when I first apply it. I do need to be careful and go in with a light hand. I also don't think that going in with the little wispy brush worked really well at all for me. I think I needed to use something more dense to really buff this into the skin. I will say, however, you know, even though this is a very sort of cool tone brown, once you blend it out, I do kind of like the look of it. Even on my super fair skin, you can totally build this up if you are tanner or deeper than me. But I kind of felt like it did sort of adapt to my skin tone and turned a little bit more of like a rosier color. I don't know if that's because I was flushed from trying to blend it in so much, but it did kind of seem to adapt to my skin tone. I think that this would be beautiful on those of you out there who have deeper skin tones and you want to add a very natural like richness to the cheeks, almost like how you might naturally blush or naturally get a little bit of color on the tops of your cheeks. I also think this would be a really good, you know, one and done type of eyeshadow shade. So I don't think it's the best shade for my skin tone, but I do think it is going to work for more people. But for me, I just had a little bit of trouble blending this one out. It is a little bit of like a fickle formula for my skin tone. And lastly, we have the color that I think at least right now at this time of year is my favorite. This is number 015 Cherry. Talk about pigment. This one is very pigmented. If you wanted a color, then you need to go with this one. It is a beautiful, bright, I don't know what I would call this. I don't even know if I would say this is cherry. It's a little bit orangey in tone. It's super beautiful. It gives a really nice, vibrant flush to the skin. If you are fair like me, I do think you need to be a little bit light-handed, just like the Mahogany shade, or use more of like a buffer brush so that you can really buff it into the skin. Start off with just a little dab, just a little tap of color. But at the end of the day, I really like the look that it gives. I think that this is perfect for summertime. And right now, I think that this is gonna be the one that I'm reaching for. Are you still with me, friends? Now it is time for my final thoughts. Let me give you the lowdown on these new blushes. Are they any good? In general, I'll just be straight with you. I think that I like them. In general, I like them. I don't think that they are the best. They're not the best luxury blushes that I have in my collection. I do think I have some that are just more effortless, that I like the application and the experience of a little bit better. But in general, I think I enjoy them. I do think I'm going to be reaching for these in general. I like these a lot better than the newly reformulated Dior blushes from the main line. I don't think they are nearly as dry and powdery. These are more firmly pressed. They always have been compared to the ones in the main line, which are kind of more silky, more blendy. But those, now that they've been reformulated, I just feel like they're a bit too chalky for me. They have great longevity, as do these newly reformulated Backstage ones. They really do a great job of clinging to the skin. Hey friends, here's what the cherry shade looks like after me wearing it for a full day of work. I'm here in my office. Just wanted to show you that the color is still there after being there for several hours. I do think that these new Backstage ones, they still have really good longevity. But the ones from the main line, I just feel like I have to work a little bit more to blend them out. And I feel like I have to really layer them up. I go in with like 2 or 3 layers. And then once I do that, they last all day. With these, I feel like I can get a little bit more pigmentation right out of the gate. They aren't nearly as dry. I don't really get a ton of patchiness from these. Although with Mahogany, I think just once again, because of the tone, I need to be way more light-handed because not all of the colors, not all of the shades are created equal in terms of pigmentation. Now, are these newly reformulated blushes worse than the original formula? You know, friends, I think you have to decide that for yourself, but my personal opinion is that they aren't better. I actually like the original formula a little bit better. I think that it is silkier. I think it's a little bit more effortless, specifically with the pink shades as well. The pink from the original formula is just more pigmented. I think it goes on the cheeks a little bit better. I am going to show you guys some comparisons here. If you take a look at them side by side in the pan, you will notice that the original formula, it's a little bit more vibrant. It's a little more pigmented. Similarly, if you take a look at these swatched on my fingertips, once again, you see that the original formula, it has more pigment. And I should also say, when applying to the cheeks, I do feel like it's just a little bit more vibrant and effortless and smooth when it goes onto the skin. Here's an image of them side by side swatched on my hand. You're gonna see the exact same thing. The original one, it has more pigment. It's just a different color. It's a different shade of pink. They're both very pretty, but the old one does have a little bit more vibrancy to it. And then lastly, friends, here they are on my cheeks, one on one cheek, one on the other cheek, and it's the same exact thing. You can tell that the original one is a little bit deeper. Does this mean that these new ones suck? Because I got a lot of comments on my Instagram post of these images of you guys saying, oh my God, they ruined it. These suck. Why did Dior do this? Blah, 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 blah. I don't think that these blushes suck. I don't think that the formula is as good, to be honest. I don't like it as much. But are they bad? No, they aren't. And I really do think that it's mostly with the pink and the coral that the colors are a little bit lighter. A lot of you out there who have tanner, deeper skin tone said that you didn't really think that this new pink shade was gonna show up on your skin tone. I'm curious to see what other reviewers say. These are supposed to adapt to your skin tone, so I don't know, maybe if you have a richer complexion than me, maybe these will sort of deepen up according to the pH to your skin. I definitely understand the concern there. What I am happy about though is that at least they released some new shades, some that are gonna work better for those of you that have different skin tones and also people with different undertones, because not everybody wants a cool tone pink. So now we have more options, and hopefully Dior will come out with some new shades that will suit all preferences. The pigmentation really does depend on the color that you get. I don't know if I necessarily see color adapting on my skin. I would say I really only noticed it with the Mahogany shade I mentioned earlier in the review. When I put it on and I kind of let it sit on my skin, I blended it out, I did feel like it kind of looked a little bit more, I don't know, rosy and natural. When I first put it on, it looked like straight up caca on my skin. I was concerned. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be dusty and weird and patchy and ashy on my skin. But once I blended it out, I felt like I could pull it off. I don't know, comment down below and let me know what you think of this shade on my skin tone. I don't think I'm gonna return it, but I do think that this will look a lot better for those of you out there who are just like richer, tanner, more melanated. I don't know if this color was necessarily designed for me, but this is the one where I kind of noticed, okay, I sort of see a little bit of an adaptation. You can see here when I first applied the coral shade, it looks coral. And then a couple minutes later, I took another clip, it still looks coral. So I wouldn't necessarily bank on these being super adapting to your skin tone, but I thought I would throw it out there. We're seeing a lot of these types of color adapting, color shifting products on the market. So that's just my take. All right, friends, I think that's all I have to share. Those are all my thoughts about this new formula. I know some people, they are upset about these reformulations from Dior. Comment down below and let me know what you think. Let's all be respectful, because there are some people who are very upset that their favorite blushes and their favorite products are changing and they don't feel like they are as good. But then on the other hand, there are people who are excited for the new shades, who maybe have found a new color that works for them, and people who are excited about the elimination of the talc. So guys, there's feelings on both sides. Let's all be respectful and share our thoughts. Sound off in the comments down below. What did you think of the new shades? Which one is your favorite? If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Once again, I will have shopping guides in the description box down below with where you can get both the old and the new formula. I do use affiliate links, so if you would like to support my channel, shopping those links, giving me a thumbs up, hitting the thanks button, anything like that is greatly appreciated. And with that, friends, I hope that you see some beauty in your day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.